Regardless of your current age, job status, or experience, I believe you can become a millionaire through real estate investing. And I'm going to show you all the different paths you can take to get there and which one I believe is the best one for this year. The first path is through rental properties. Now, there are four main benefits to owning rental properties that make it so attractive. For a rental property, as long as you're willing to hold it long term, you can guarantee that it will appreciate over a long enough time horizon. For example, look back 30 years ago in California and see what houses were selling for in LA versus today. You could have got a house in certain parts for $50,000 to $100,000, and many of those same exact houses are worth over seven figures today. But you don't even have to look 30 years out to see how crazy appreciation has been in real estate. When I got started in 2010, I was a realtor here in Las Vegas. I remember selling super nice brand new homes for $150,000 to $200,000 in really good areas. And in just over a decade later, those same houses are worth well over $500,000. So in some cases, they have 3x'd in just over 10 years. Now just think about that. If you would have bought 3 of those homes in 2010, you would have over $1 million net worth already. And that didn't require you to get any kind of good deal. That was just buying a brand new house and letting appreciation do its thing. So this is one of the major benefits of owning rental properties. But there are still 3 other ones that are also really good. The second is principal paydown. By owning a rental property, you are going to put a tenant in the house and they are going to be the one paying you rent every single month. Now you're going to take that rent and probably use the majority of it to pay off your mortgage for the property. And each month that you're paying your mortgage, you're paying a certain percentage of that towards the principal. Now, if you're curious how principal paydown works, you can go online and look at a 30-year amortization calculator. If you look in year 1, you can see that the majority of your payment is going towards interest and very little is going towards principal. But as the years go on, that ratio starts to change. You start paying more towards principal and less towards interest. And by the end of the loan, you're basically paying all principal and very little interest at all. And so initially, you might not notice the benefits of principal paydown since it's happening very slowly, but the longer you hold a rental property for, the more you start to see it and your net worth starts to grow tremendously because you're paying down the principal so much. And that leads to the third main benefit of rental properties, which is cash flow. Cash flow is simply how much you're getting in rent minus all of the expenses of the rental property. This includes the mortgage, which is the biggest expense, but it also includes property management fees, any maintenance costs that you have throughout the time of owning it. And your cash flow is calculated by simply taking the rent minus all of those costs, and whatever is left over is your cash flow. Now, with interest rates being high, it's harder to get cash flow in major markets like California, New York, Nevada, any of these markets that are on the coast in warmer climates. And most of the properties I'm buying today, I'm penciling out are going to break even or potentially even lose a little cash flow each month. And the reason I'm willing to do that is because I know in the long haul, it's going to cash flow really well as rents grow, because not only do you get price appreciation, but you also get rent growth appreciation. And I know that at some point rates are going to get lower and I'll be able to refinance and get that mortgage down, which then will allow me to cash flow. But even at break-even cash flow, that's just one aspect of owning a rental property that makes it beneficial. As we mentioned before, you got the price appreciation, you've also got the principal paydown, but there's a fourth one that to me is one of the most important and most misunderstood, and that is depreciation. Every rental property gets what's called depreciation. And depreciation is funny because it's kind of like magic. It doesn't really happen, but the IRS knows that over time, your property is going to need a lot of work and maintenance. And so what they allow you to do is write off this maintenance each year, regardless of whether or not it truly happens. So here's how it works. When you buy a property, it is separated between the building value and the land value. To make math simple, let's say that the property was $300,000 and the building is worth $270,000 and the land is worth $30,000. What you get to do with normal depreciation is take the building value and divide it by 27 and a half years. So with simple math and rounding up, if we have $270,000 as the building value and we then divide it by 27 years, that means each year we get a $10,000 write-off for depreciation. And this happens whether or not you put any money into repairing the property. And so what many millionaires and real estate investors do is load up on rental properties simply as a tax play. They know that if they buy enough rentals, they can get enough depreciation that wipes out all of their income. And for a guy like me who's making millions of dollars a year in active income, depreciation is extremely important because I could potentially wipe it all out instead of paying the government millions of dollars in tax. Now, without getting too deep into it, there's another form of depreciation which people like me take called bonus depreciation. And the way you do this is through what's called a cost segregation analysis. What a cost segregation analysis will do is allow you to take certain items in the home in year one to the 100% expense. And so in the previous example, instead of getting $10,000 a year write-off, in year one, I might be able to get $100,000 write-off because I'm taking all of these items to their fullest extent in the first year. It's still crazy to me that it's legal because it's an expense that doesn't technically happen, but you get the advantage of doing it because you're a real estate investor. So when I look at the path to becoming a millionaire through real estate, it always ends up being some form of owning rental properties. And this is because your net worth is increasing in 4 different ways from rentals. If the price appreciates, your net worth grows. If you pay down more principal, your net worth grows. If you're making more cash flow every month, your net worth grows. And if you're paying less in taxes, your net worth grows. And the amazing thing about rental properties is you can pick and choose how you want to go about building your rental portfolio. You could buy apartments and multifamily. You could go do Airbnb and make more cash flow that way. In fact, in the last 5 years, I've bought 10 units in Big Bear, California, and just owning those units have increased my net worth by over $2 million. Think about it, in the last 5 years, I've become a multi-millionaire just in my Airbnb portfolio. And I don't say that to brag, I just say it to show that rental properties can make you a millionaire really fast, and you can do it too. Now, even though I love rental properties, they are not the only path to becoming a millionaire in real estate. You can also take the second path, which is through flipping and wholesaling. Now, house flipping's pretty simple. You've probably seen all of the TV shows. All you gotta do is buy a house, get it funded, get it fixed up, go sell it for a profit, do it over and over again. Wholesaling, on the other hand, is a little bit simpler. Instead of having to go raise money to buy the property, get it fixed up and sell it, you simply just find a good deal, then you find somebody who's willing to buy that deal, and you sell them the contract to the deal. To make it simple, let's say I've got a property under contract for $300,000, and I know that Joe the flipper is willing to buy it for $320,000. Well, instead of having to buy it and then go sell Joe the property, I can just sell him the contract that I have to buy that property for a fee. In this case, it would be $20,000 because that's the amount he's willing to pay more than what I have it under contract for. When it comes time to close, he'll send his $320,000 to the title company. They'll pay the seller out $300,000. They'll pay me out $20,000, and Joe will get the house that he's going to go flip or keep as a rental and make a lot of money on his end. It's an amazing win-win, and wholesaling is how a lot of people get started because you don't need a lot of money and you don't need to take a lot of risk. Now, house flipping is the path that I took to become a millionaire in 3 years. And I'm a big advocate for people learning how to flip houses because it teaches you all of the fundamentals you need to know about real estate investing for the long term. If you know how to find great deals, you're gonna always be good for either wholesaling, flipping, or buying rentals. If you know how to raise money, then you're always gonna be good for either flipping it or raising money to buy it as a rental. And if you know how to do construction, once again, you're gonna know how to renovate it for a flip or renovate it for a rental. House flipping makes you a great investor overall because you always have the option to wholesale or keep it as a rental. So knowing that, what is the best path for you to take this year? Well, I think it depends on what your circumstance is. Let's say you have a really good job or career that you don't want to quit, but you don't have the time to dedicate going into real estate full time. Well, I think you can become a millionaire simply by just buying one house a year. If you buy one house a year for 5 years straight, you will be guaranteed to become a millionaire in the long haul. And I would guess you'll probably become a millionaire in 5 to 7 years doing it that way. And even if you're not full-time in real estate, as long as you're just looking at the market on a weekly basis and you're just looking at deals and analyzing, I can trust you're gonna get a property that's discounted, and the moment you buy it, you've already raised your net worth because you've bought into it with equity. And if you did this same method and bought 10 houses in 10 years straight, you can believe that you're gonna be sitting really good come retirement in 30 years. In 30 years, if you didn't refinance any, you're gonna have paid off all of those houses. You can start using the excess cash flow to pay down the other ones sooner. And by then, you're gonna be a multimillionaire many times over, and you're gonna be cash flowing a lot of money. Or if you wanna be like me and get really aggressive with it, you can refinance those properties during certain times, take cash out of it, and buy even more properties. This is exactly what I've done, and it's allowed me to build my rental portfolio to over 550 properties. This is a blend of properties I own 100% on my own, and the majority of them are with my investors at Pineda Capital. But nonetheless, maybe you don't have a full-time career and you're trying to figure out what you should be doing to make active income. If that's the case for you, then I highly suggest you get into wholesaling and flipping real estate. In your first year, you can make 6 figures doing it. And I don't want to say you can do it pretty easily or not, but I have seen it time and time again from our students, and I have no doubt that you could be one of them if you put all of your effort into it, doing the right things every day. At that point, as you grow your house flipping and wholesaling business, I would be very frugal with how you spend your money. I would keep reinvesting your money into the next deals. As your business expands, you can then start picking and choosing which of those properties you want to keep for your own rental portfolio. And as I mentioned before in the video, this is exactly how I became a millionaire in 3 years doing it. I focused on flipping houses, and in those first 3 years, I bought over 80 homes, the majority of which were flipped, and I kept some for my rental portfolio. My net worth started to accelerate really fast because I was deploying my cash back into my business into more and more deals. And the cool thing is, I've seen some of our students at Future Flipper do it way quicker than I did. And if you want to learn more about how you can get involved in the program, you can go to futureflipper.com and get a free call with my team. But as I said in the beginning, regardless of your age, skill level, or experience, you can become a millionaire in real estate investing.